Good morning, Virginia. I was telling him earlier, I'm so used to getting mic'd up, feel free just to go in. And I think he was a little nervous. I told him to commit. I hope he listens to my presentation because I talk about commitment. But it's so cool to say good morning, Virginia. I often don't get a chance to come and talk to Virginia. Virginia is such an interesting state that's full of curiosity and full of history, full of meaning. I had the wonderful pleasure of being able to speak in Richmond for a TED Talk, whereas Mark some time ago. And so it was great to be back to Virginia. I'm very privileged to be able to say that. So thank you for having me, Tom. My story is very interesting. I intersect politics and pop culture, and it usually creates people to do a little bit of a head tilt when I say that. And then it makes sometimes people squint their eyes. And then it makes people say, what? And then it makes people say, well, what is that? And so it is a fantastic lane that I have carved out for myself through this very interesting entrepreneurial effort that I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even know that I was curating this space, this place, this lane that allowed me to be standing on this stage right here. But with that, it took a lot of learning. It took a lot of growing. And so I wanted to share with you my story, my journey. I want you to come down with me through this intersection of politics and pop culture. And for me, I love music. I love sound, right? So sound for me encapsulate moments in time, where I was at 2-3 years ago, where I was at last week. It takes me back to a really happy place, to a good place. Music is what I wake up to, is what I walk to, coming over from the short walk from the hotel to here. I was listening to Kendrick Lamar's new album. If you haven't heard it, I suggest you check that out. And also, I'm very visual. I love pictures. I love art. For me, art and pictures has a way of us reflecting back and asking ourselves really interpersonal questions. It makes us think about just different things, and it evokes something in our life. And so I'm going to tell my story through pictures, if you don't mind. And the pictures for me represent these lessons learned of entrepreneurship and just lessons that I love to impart to other people who are curious about entrepreneurship. So this picture that we have right here, what this lesson for me, this intersection, my logo, my name, this whole intersection, is me saying to myself and to others to be comfortable in being undefined. There is a challenge that entrepreneurs have about having to over-explain themselves, right? Over to explain what we do, how we do it. You know, there's always this big terminology of listen for your 30-second pitch. Always have your 30-second elevator pitch. You know, and if you're doing something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, if you do something in disruptor space, if you do something that's very non-traditional, what I used to find myself doing is having to over-explain. I would take time, approximately about maybe 5 minutes, and tell my entire story because I felt like I needed for people to get it. But then it became a point in my life, I said, you know what? I don't need for you to get it. I don't need to validate myself to you. I don't need for me to tell you who you think I should be or who I am. I am fine in myself. I am fine in this intersection. I am comfortable in the work that I do. And if you don't get it, it's not meant for you to get it. But there's someone else who will, and that's okay. We as entrepreneurs have to be able to say it's okay for individuals not to get what we do. Everyone does not have to like what we do. Everyone doesn't have to accept your notion of being a disruptor. It's okay to be different. And it's okay not to have to explain to others why you are different and why you are special. Special. This picture is special. This picture is very special to me. This picture for me is this culmination of really my existence. This picture is this culmination of entrepreneurship for me at its finest and the tough lessons of entrepreneurship. One would look at this picture and say, it's amazing. Trust me, my parents think so. It's still in their living room on the coffee table. And we have to walk by it every time. And every time someone comes over, there was always a conversation about it. I had the chance to meet President Clinton when I was in high school, my junior year. He and I are part of this. Look at that, he and I. He and I are part, like, that's my homie Bill. He and I are part of this alumni program called American Legion Boys Nation. And so this picture picture is a mirror image of this picture when he was running for his presidential campaign of him shaking President Kennedy's hand in the Rose Garden for the same program that I am now shaking his hand for as well. And what did that do to my parents? Wow. They had these incredible expectations that I am going to be somebody, something special in this insanely amazing space and place, whatever that loosely was. Every time we went out into the community, because I'm from Lansing, Michigan, and so it's a small town, very much like Charlottesville, and this picture got published pretty widely in our local newspaper. And so I couldn't go through my high school without people asking me about President Clinton. I couldn't go to church without people asking me about President Clinton. And so there was this expectation of me of what I should be. And honestly, it was completely stifling. I was stifled by it. How could this picture be so stifling? How could a picture of this amazingness be so stifling? It's because I didn't want to accept this idea that people had put on me of who I should be, of what I should do. So I went to college, University of Michigan, to major in engineering, and I was so unhappy. Right? But I was trying to prove to my parents, I was trying to live up to the expectations of my community, I was trying to live up to the expectations of my friends that I am something special. In order to be something special, I had to do something of this magnitude. I had to do something very traditional that is not outside the box, really confined, really strategic, and really is linear. But I was so unhappy. So what I decided to do when you're unhappy? You turn down a bunch of amazing offers after you graduate, and you decide not to move to New York City and accept that consulting gig. So what do? You move to Florida to be a bartender in search of finding self, right? And so I kept telling my parents, no, I'm pushing it back, Mom and Dad. I'm on a journey right now, let me find myself. And I didn't even drink at the time, which was even more hilarious, right? And so now I have a glass or two from time to time. But the funny thing about it was there that I got approached to be a part of the music business. My then business partner asked me to be a part of his management company to help produce his record, his management. He had a music production company that he wanted me to manage. And I said, no, that's not me. I'm not music. I'm this, right? Like, I'm not music. I am more on this lane. I'm more traditional. Long story short, he said something really unique to me. He said, Mike, let's just do it, man. You're not doing anything else. I was like, you might have a point there. I was like, fair. So long story short, I did it. And by doing that, I literally embraced my crazy. And so this picture represents embracing my crazy. I went against the grain. I shunned what was expected of me. I shunned what was traditional of me. I embraced this crazy notion when my parents completely had a conniption, said a lot of explicitive words about what I was doing with my life. I embraced my crazy as my friends talked about me behind my back. I embraced my crazy as my friends giggled about, what are you doing with your life, Mike? You did nuclear chemical research. You're no music guy. But I dug deep and I became resilient. So this picture also represents resiliency, to be able to be steadfast in knowing what I want to do with my life, to be steadfast to know that this can go somewhere, and to be steadfast to know that I am happy, right? Because I embraced my crazy. So then I created this record label with my then business partner, and it was amazing. But what this represents right here is, as entrepreneurs, we have to be able to be comfortable in finding the yes behind every no. Are you kidding me? A guy from Lansing, Michigan, who did industrial engineering, who did nuclear chemical research, now all of a sudden wants to do music? Yeah. I wrote a business plan. And I thought it was a great business plan. It was pretty thick. It was full of words and pie charts and graphs and Excel sheets. And I wore my suit to my meetings, and I pitched to investors. And every time I had a meeting, the end result was no. No, Mike, we're not doing this. You don't have the background. You don't have the experience. What are you doing? What are these numbers? So I'll go back. I'll retool the business plan, retweak it, retool it, retweak it, pitch it again. No, Mike. Okay, something's not right here. Retool it, retweak it. No, Mike. Retool it, retweak it. No. Retool it, retweak. Finally, there was a yes. And that's all it takes is just that one yes that will get you started on an incredible journey. When you find that yes, be open to it and keep searching for it until you ultimately get it. And it's through that, finding a yes behind every no, I said, we need to be different. We had to come out in a different way. We have to find new different revenue streams, different entrees into the market. We can't be traditional. So what I said was, I want to do more strategic partnerships. My team looked at me like I was crazy. Like, Mike, what does that mean? I said, I want Starbucks. They said, what? Starbucks, I say. And they said, well, we don't know anybody at Starbucks. That doesn't matter. Somebody in Starbucks is going to say yes to us. And for this long journey, many people at Starbucks said no. But it took that one yes. We found a yes at Starbucks. They said yes, and that was the beginning of our strategic partnership trajectory. From there, we got Chrysler, we got McDonald's, we got the NBA, we got the NFL, all because I wanted to find the search of finding that yes, and you can do it. So next. So now I have this record label, now I have some coffee, now I have football, now I have the NBA, the whole nine, and I'm sitting around in my living room, and the phone rings. And I say hello, and they say, hey, Mike, you've been recommended to be a part of then candidate Senator Barack Obama. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I said, well, what does that mean? They said, well, Mike, we want you to be a fundraiser for our Tri-State Finance Committee. I said, nah, I'm not a fundraiser. Never done fundraising a day in my life. I'm not into it, but I am into your guy. I support your guy. I rock with your guy. Your guy is definitely going to win. I wish you guys all the best. They said, no, wait, listen. We think, there might be something here for you. Could you come to one meeting? I was like, sure, why not? I was open. I come to one meeting. Here we are, sitting next to each other, having dinner. An amazing place in the space. I won't say what it is. It was at a private residence, but I could not believe I was there. And it was all because I was curious to go to this meeting, curious to step outside of my comfort zone, curious to do something I had never done before, to learn more, to explore about what it is. But then once I got into it, then the friends, they have their little voices in your head. Your coworkers, your colleagues are in your head saying, Mike, you can't raise money. You don't know anybody. You don't know enough people with long pockets that can able to do the things that you want to do. And I was like, really? They clearly don't know about that picture with me and President Clinton about being resilient. Clearly don't know about me embracing my crazy. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm going to raise $1 million. I'm going to do it. They laughed, just like some Snickers in here, right? They laughed. There's no way, Mike. Even some of the staff members, you're not going to be able to do it, Mike. We've seen it done. You don't have the Rolodex. You don't have what it takes. Here I am standing before you now, completing that goal of $1 million plus, actually, and having been involved with him for part of his 2 different administrations and having been appointed to some incredible positions to serve and, as Michael was saying earlier, to be able to give back and to pay it forward. All because I embraced my crazy. I was open to find a yes behind every no, and I was curious about what could be possible. So now, here I am, flying high in the sky, having dinner sitting next to President Barack Obama, and all of a sudden, I get invited to a birthday party. So I show up. And this guy named Sway, the guy right there to the left, he was at the birthday party. Some of you, I'm sure, know who Sway is. So we're having a good time. We're laughing. We're joking. I'm being present with him. And that's it. Just being present. Again, laughing, joking, having a good time, just being present, just being authentic, and just being who I naturally am. Shortly time later, I get a call. Yo, Mike. Yeah, what up? Would you be interested in just calling in to our radio show on Sirius Satellite Radio on Shade 45, kind of discussing his political background? I know you do a lot with pop culture and politics and the whole nine. Would you mind kind of just bringing it in for us? I was like, sure, like, why not? Cool. All right. So I call in. The calls from my bedroom sometimes was an early morning show, lasted maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, nothing more. And then from there, he said, come into the studio. He said, but Mike, listen, I got to promise you, you're only going to be talking for 5 minutes. You're going to have to get up really, really early. I don't know if it's going to be worth it for you, but if it's worth it, come in. We would love to have you. I said, absolutely. I'm going to show up. I come in for 5 minutes. 5-minute segment turns into 10 minutes. on Wednesdays. 10 minutes turns into 15. 15 turns into 30. 30 turns into 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Wednesdays. 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Wednesdays comes now 2 days a week. I am on Sirius Satellite Radio on Shade 45 with Sway in the morning discussing hip hop and politics. All because I was humble. All because I exercised my humility. All because I was able to throw away and discount all these incredible, amazing places and spaces, individuals that I had been to, and decided to be an intern. Sway laughs at me. He says, Mike, stop calling yourself an intern. Because now I am a co-host on the show officially. And so that's what I want to impart to you is no matter how great we become, how much success that we have, it's important that we always exercise our humility. It's always important that we show up. It's always important that when we show up, I like to say show out. It's also important when you show up and show out, you are authentic and you are true. I get the biggest feeling and rush ever of my life when I had a caller call into the show on election day. And it was a very awkward kind of call in the beginning. He calls into the show, he said, hey, Mike. I was like, hey, what's up? He says, I never voted before. And I was like, all right. He says, but I am driving to my polling station while you were on the radio. I am in the parking lot. Now tell me why I need to vote. I said, okay, this is a different call. I just told him, I'm nonpartisan. I just told him the facts of why voting matters. The man voted. He tweeted me his Instagram. He had a sticker. The first time, Mike, I've ever voted in my life. And that gives me so much joy to know that I was able to inspire an individual like that and many more, all because I decided to be humble and to be an intern in order to do that. This picture right here has no meaning. I just wanted to stunt. Look at me in the tux, the red carpet of the Oscars. Just take it in. I have no wise words to share. But this right here, and I'll make it short, my time is up, is just about execution. So this is the culmination of me intersecting politics and pop culture. This is a culmination of me being resilient off that picture of President Clinton. This is a picture of me embracing my crazy. This picture represents me finding a yes behind every no. This picture is of me being humble and being open to opportunities, because when it all comes together, one day, I am now known as a guy who intersects politics and pop culture, who pushes social issues and political discourse through pop culture lens, which led me to help out the Oscar-winning film Moonlight. They called me up to be part of their campaign to host 2 screenings for them in New York and LA with the Oscar-nominated cast members, to be invited to the Oscars to watch them win. That's amazing. That's my story. Thank you, Virginia. It's been great.